What is the worst punishment you received as a kid? Got a citation at school for yelling at a bully in middle school. It was a fake one from a cop to scare me. Parents took it well and told me to straighten up and to not let people get to me. Dad didn't really seem to mind. Few days later I was playing outside with my cousins. Dad comes out high on Xanax and goes, "Oh yay, that goddamn citation come here." He gets very angry and abusive. Okay, Xanax, and he would pop several. I'm confused because I thought everything was okay. I thought it was over. Drags me upstairs, makes me pull my pants down over the bathroom sink and beats the shit out of me with a belt. I couldn't sit down without it hurting for a week. Purple big bruises and welts on my butt cheeks. Told my mom I was gonna tell someone at school but she said not to. He never touched me again after that, but I'll never forget it. He also used to destroy everything in the house when he got high. Like literally destroy. Throw TVs out in the yard, knock over shit. Mess with my mom. Break shit. Age 3 to 5 SMTH like that, so I didn't like peas, and I had to eat it. So I ate them one by one. Later that day my dad read me a bedtime story, letter by letter. And #X200B, this is silly not bad I know. Just wanted to make some people smile maybe, between all these sad comments. It might sound silly, but getting yelled at by my dad. He's got a short temper and sometimes I felt like I was walking on eggshells around him. Even hearing him yell at my siblings sent me into shakes and tears. Edit. Thanks for all the nice comments and support, and hugs to all of you dealing with similar things. Happily I'm living with good friends and I've cut off contact with my dad, so I'm doing okay. Hey there, are you subscribed yet? Please do. Also leave a like on this video to help out the channel. This post is ducking depressing. I interpreted it as, reasonable but harsh for a kid, punishment, but people are telling stories of parents with anger issues who are just being assholes. So sorry you guys had to go through that. I have no memories from my childhood except for this one. I must have been 8 or 9 but one time, I stayed 15 minutes in class to help the teacher clean the brushes and tables from the art class. My mom was very particular about not letting us play outside. Each day after school we just couldn't be late. As I was helping the teacher in school and not playing with other kids I thought she wouldn't mind, but I was so wrong. When I came back, the entry of the building was occupied by some drunks, so I decided to enter by the north entry to avoid them. I was terrified to even look at them. I ran past some other girls playing and arrived home to find my sister concerned about me. "Where were you? Mom is going to kill you." But I'm only 20 minutes late. Here comes my mom, veins popping out of her face. She starts to yell at me, letting me know that the girls playing told her I was running the other way around from the building, and then she tied me to a chair. The rest was kind of blurry, but I remember she put harissa in my mouth. It's a very spicy sauce. She hit me on the stomach and left me alone in her bedroom for until dinner, so about 6 hours. Yay. Didn't happen to me but to a mutual friend of mine. His parents didn't pay the school fees for the month and so he wasn't allowed to sit in class. Instead he was forced to stand in the blistering summer sun throughout the afternoon to force the parents to paying the fees as soon as possible. Undeserved, inhuman and unethical. Pisses me off even today that the school got away with this sort of thing. ITT, people who were abused as children but had parents claim it was punishment. A life of anxiety and depression due to, among many other things, extreme favoritism. I got beaten the hell out me by my father. Went to hospital for about 5 days. My face was black and yellow. I'm glad you are enjoying this video. Before we continue, don't forget to like, subscribe and leave a comment. When I was 4 years old I was supposed to change into a nicer shirt because we were going to my grandma's on Mother's Day. I refused to change because it was my favorite shirt and my mom lost it and stripped me buck naked. She dragged me into the car like that with my siblings laughing at me. When we got to my grandma's house she paraded me out in front of the neighbors and I was so hysterical by the time we got inside that I wet myself all over my grandma's carpet. I got yelled at even more. It's a really awful memory that sticks with me even now. My parents weren't particularly punishing. In fact my dad has frequently lamented their decision to not spank us. The one really pendisish punishment they used was to make us stand in front of the wall while my dad pulled a quarter out of his pocket. He placed it against the wall and we would have to hold it in place with our noses for a set time. If it fell, he'd replace the coin with a smaller one and start the time over again. I wasn't so much punished as victimized by outbursts of rage. Worst was getting a blunt object thrown at my eye for making a derisive comparison to the helicopter parent of one of my friends. I don't even remember how old I was anymore, it was definitely before puberty though. Standing in the corner, my parents would spank me but that would not faze me at all, but man did I hate it. Soap in the mouth was pretty bad too. I refused to clean my room so my mom got out a shovel and anything that was on the floor was shoveled into a big black garbage bag and thrown away. Cast out. Sent to a children's home. Lol, I say. Lol, but I'm being deadly serious. 5th grade, I stole my friend's Hot Wheels car. My dad found out and made me learn JavaScript. Wasn't on purpose, but I was told to stand in the corner. Don't remember what I did. They forgot I was there, so I stood there all night and my parents found me sleep still in the corner. I had eating disorders as a kid and as a teenager. My parents knew there was something going on, but didn't really care until a neighbor commented that I looked unwell. My mother was furious, because the fact someone noticed means I made her look like a bad parent. Spoiler alert, she was. Now, one would expect a person with an MD would do the reasonable thing and get a psychiatrist. No. Hell, if they're feeling particularly mean, they probably could have forced me into a hospital and make it somebody else's problem. But my mother decided the most reasonable course of action was to make the grossest sandwich she could: stale white bun, fried eggs with what was probably half a cup vegetable oil, hold me down and shove it in my mouth. When the thing fell apart, because stale bread tends to do that, and fell on the floor, she forced me to eat it from the floor, yelling at me that I'm a crazy person and this is how crazy people should be handled. That sure helped. One evening, I went to my friend's house, which was directly opposite to mine, to play. Both of us ended up watching a movie, and only when it ended did I realize that it was 15 minutes past my curfew time. My father was already waiting for me at the door when I left my friend's house. When we entered my house, he caught hold of me and smacked me across my face. The impact was strong enough to send me flying back against the wall. He grabbed me and slapped me again. By the time he was done, I had already pissed my pants twice. I was 6. I was always afraid of him after that. Forced to eat food I absolutely despised until I vomit. My mother never believed I hated certain food, and they make me absolutely ill. From the age of 8 till I was 12. Then when I started cooking because she was working, I made sure twice a week to make things she hated just to force her to make her own meals. Physically having my mouth washed out with soap for blurting out the F word. I don't think I had even started school yet, UK, so who knows if I really knew what I was saying. I can still taste the soap now. Nauseated face. I wouldn't salute, so I was punched in the sternum, and while laying on the ground trying to catch my breath I was kicked with combat boots until I was coughing up blood. Don't ask why this happened. I don't remember. I do remember realizing that this was probably not normal. My parents confined me to my room, took away music, books, TV, and games, occasionally banned me from using electricity, food, using the bathroom, usually when I annoyed my stepfather by doing something like breathing too heavily, walking too loudly, or just being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and I spent a lot of time, either hungry, in the dark, or pissing in water bottles. With occasional breaks of hard labor in plus 40 degrees Celsius weather. I went through this for 2 years, it only ended when I moved out. I scrounged up $600 and rented some guy's closet. Their reason was in their words, your whole general attitude towards things. My step-siblings and half-brother on the other hand were treated like gods, were handed expensive electronics, multiple cars, college educations. Whereas I was constantly shat on, punished for arbitrary reasons, and told to kill myself. For context, I was born with Asperger's and was unfortunate enough to not be biologically related to my stepfather. I was more of a pain in the ass than most kids, but I was never arrested, and never got into drugs, so nothing they put me was justified. Anyways, I'm doing amazing now, but I hate my parents. Nothing major really, but if my mom was angry with me she'd just ignore me completely. Become cold and dismissive. It was worse when she'd guilt trip me. I remember one morning I was late for the bus, tired and looking for something I needed. I was being a little short, but she turned around and called me a bitch and to leave the house. I leave without what I needed and come home too. Now you know why I called you a bitch. You were making me feel bad and upset. It was only natural I reacted that way. There was never an apology when she did it, just a, you deserved it, sort of pep talk. My parents were fond of physical abuse. Dad preferred belts, mom liked wooden spoons. The stuff that really got to me though was the verbal and psychological stuff. Worst was taking the door to my room. I suddenly didn't have even a trace of safety at home anymore. I still have nightmares about it. Ye old hand on stove was my nightmare, still got rings on my hands from the scars. It's pretty common, I've met lots of people with the same burns. Pick your switch as a psychological bitch. Is it sturdy enough to not break, but small enough to not hurt as much? You ask yourself as you're searching for the device of your own punishment. Because, if it breaks, you're going to have to go back for another. Neglected. Edit. Didn't see that wholesome award coming. I had physical punishment beyond what most endure. But the one punishment that really changed me, was my mother saying how disappointed she was in me and refusing to talk to me for what I'd done. Her silence lasted a day or two. My dad used to spank us with an old leather weightlifting belt he had. My mom would get at me and tackle me. I would be on the floor defending my upper torso and face while she is on top of me sitting on my waist so I couldn't move. I was a kid so she was heavier and would just keep throwing slaps with her hands and or flip-flops. The flip-flops were more merciful.